Hey everybody, Al Fragnoli, Zach Sooty, League of Leaders coming at you this evening. We're joined by a roundtable of guests here. All of us used to work with the Pittsburgh Pirates and Bradenton Marauders together. We thought it'd be a fantastic opportunity. All of you have been on our podcast in the past year. We thank you for doing that. And we had a couple questions that we thought we would go around and ask everybody. So the questions we want to ask, we want all of you to answer them. The first one will be, what do you love most about working in the sports industry? All of you are currently still in the industry, so we want to hear what your favorite moments are about working in the industry. And what piece of advice would you give to young people that are looking to break into the sports industry? And then the last thing we'll close it out with is, what's your favorite memory when we all worked together with the Pittsburgh Pirates and Bradenton Marauders? Alex, we'll start it off with you.
Oh, the honor's all mine, Al and Zach. Thanks for having us. I just smile looking at this group here. Just excellent memories. Man, that's almost 10 years ago now. So best thing about working in sports for me, we know the term lights, camera, action. The lights and camera part are a pain sometimes, and it's a long day, and there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see. But the action part, the payoff, is always my favorite part. When my first role with the Sixers, and the crazy things I had to do on a home game was, after the national anthem, pull the 5 starters off the court into the back hallway and into the fog tunnel to push them out as the PA announcer introduced them to the crowd. And that 30 seconds to get those players from the hardwood to the back of house and back out through the fog, I thought honestly I was going to die of a heart attack at a young age of 25 sometimes. But the action of when that last player finally ran out and the place just lit up, incredible. It's incredible to feel like you spent all day getting to that point. And again, that action part has payoff. Second part, my advice to people coming up in the industry is to always act like the title above your own. So if you're an intern, act like a coordinator. If you're a coordinator, act like a manager. If you're a manager, act like a director. If you're a director, act like a VP. And don't do it in a way that's gonna, rub feathers the wrong way. But if you act like you're a step above of what you're expected to do, you really can't go wrong. Favorite memory of 2012 is a very difficult question. I think we'll all agree. Probably the best season of any that I've been a part of, any sport. I would have to say the Great Hurricane of 2012 stands out the most. And, sad that the damage it caused. However, there was something bonding about that storm, I think, with our staff. I don't know if it was the giant billboard in right field breaking off of the stands and cascading across the field, or almost getting wrapped up in layers of tarp in that horrible wind. But we walked out of that night muddy, bloody, had to throw our clothes away type of feeling. But I think we'll always remember that as an incredible night that we worked together, and one that we'll never forget. Unfortunately, I don't pick one with a lot of laughter, so we start on a low note. I'm sure you guys will have more uplifting memories, but that certainly was a powerful one for me.
Awesome. Gabe, we'll jump right over to you and have you answer those same 3 questions.
Yeah, thanks, Al. And it's so cool to be seeing all your faces again after, as Alex mentioned, almost 10 years. I can't believe it's gone by so fast. The biggest thing to me that I think that I like about the industry is just the friendships you make. I mean, this right here is a big part of it. You get to connect with so many people who, you wouldn't have met in different backgrounds. You're coming from different areas. It's kind of like college, especially those first couple ones. And I think we were all in the same boat there with the Pirates, that it was either our first experience in sports or an early experience in sports for us. And I just think, being able to see where people go with their careers and being able to have that connection with them, it's 10 years later and it feels like it was yesterday. Excuse me. So Yeah, I think it's just those friendships and just those lifelong connections that you're able to build with people, and being a part of a team, you spend a lot of time together and it becomes your family. And that's one of the cool aspects that, I don't think that comes with a lot of jobs out there. So it's pretty special to have that bond. When I think about, getting started and trying to figure out, how to best navigate and best position yourself to break into the industry, there's really three things that stand out to me. It's always be learning, for one. Never pass up an opportunity to learn a new skill, to do something that's outside your comfort zone, because that'll pay off in the end. Second, I would always look to connect. Again, you never know who's going to be a connection down the road that you're interviewing with, or can help you get connected to the right people at an organization. And then the third thing I think goes along pretty well with what Alex was saying, but um, do those things that put you in that position that you want to be in, and think about when you're not in that. If you were in that position, what would you do? How would you act? And really, carry yourself for that role. And those are three things that I think if you take those with you, and you can, carve out your niche and figure out your own way within the industry. Um, Third, so the favorite memory, and again, there's so many of them, but one of the early ones that stuck with me, I think this was the day that we had spring training single game tickets go on sale, and we were all working in the ticket office. So it was early on, it was in January, and we're sitting there, we're wrapping up, it'd been a successful day, and we look out and there's a van driving down the concourse. Outside our ticket office, and Chris Cook, our stadium ops guy, goes running out there yelling, and somehow this lovely older couple had figured out how to get through the player lot and drive up onto the concourse, and couldn't figure out how to get out. And I knew at that point, it was like, this is going to be a hell of a ride and going to be a fun time here in Bradenton. So that was one of the early memories that always stuck with me.
Awesome. That's a great memory. I don't remember that one happening, but I love it. That's a good story. Katie, we'll jump over to you next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie, and for those of you who don't know, I'm working currently for the Toronto Blue Jays over in Dunedin, Florida. So I've been the project manager over their renovation for their play development complex and then TV ballpark, which we just opened at this spring training. We're currently now opening up this big building, which I think is kind of relevant to this first question is what do you love most about working in the sports industry? And I think kind of along what Alex said, it's that action, it's seeing all that hard work kind of get put into fruition, and all of the hard work over the last 2 years designing and building this complex, and seeing these players come in, and all of like the holy crap moments when you walk through with them and them seeing all the different spaces, like that's completely worth it to me. I found that an environment to make a competitive athlete and make a championship team. So really finding that passion within the sports industry is just really kind of what gets me going and what keeps me motivated and up every morning. So then on to the second question, advice for those who are getting started in the industry. I would say to find that niche early on as best you can, and kind of figure out what makes you different, because there's so many people that want to break into the sports industry. Everyone wants the arena and the field to be their office, and you have to find what makes you different and separate you from everyone else, because there's going to be so many interns and not that many people are able to stay in the industry long term like us. We're so lucky to be able to still be in the industry. And then also to piggyback on Gabe's point too about networking, it's really important to keep in touch with your contacts, but don't just reach out to people when you want something. So keep generating those relationships just to check in, make sure they're doing okay. You see they got their new job, congratulate them. So it's more about keeping those relationships instead of just asking them for something or a favor. The third question, favorite memory. So I was pretty involved with the promotions and kind of helping prepare for all of those. And I was actually an intern for the Pirates for 3 summers. So I was trying to figure out which one was 2012, which was my first summer there. And I'm pretty sure the Marauders prom was one of them, if you guys remember that. And I actually won queen. So I had to dance with all of the old people in the courtyard for the Marauders. So that was one of them. And then the other one that really stuck out to me was the plumber Olympics. Do you guys remember that?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
we had we had red versus green, and we had these totally obscure games on the field during the game. So it was like toilet paper toss and like plunger games. It was ridiculous, but it was so much fun. And I remember all of us were completely getting into it and getting super competitive. So those promotions were just so much fun and one of a kind. And we really tried to be different than a lot of the other teams. So.
That's awesome. And Alex Yo, I believe that was the one night that you were in charge, the Plumber Olympics. That was an Alex Yo idea, I believe.
Well, the name was Chris Cook. Like all he had was, "Hey, can you run the Plumber Olympics?" And I said, "What's that?" He goes, "I don't know." And we went from there. But that was a heck of a night. I think Al was the red plumber, if I'm not mistaken. And you did quite well in the plunger javelin throw, but not so well in the toilet seat discus, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, didn't work out too well.
Night.
Oh, that's so funny.
Awesome. Justin Zinkovich, we'll jump over to you next with same questions.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. For those of you guys that don't know, I work at IMG Academy, which is kind of a high school sports boarding school down in Bradenton, Florida. I coach baseball there. I'm also part of the scheduling and helping with stuff behind the scenes with the baseball program as well. Been there for 6 years, and I've seen a lot while I've been there. A lot of the stuff that I learned working within the Pirates organization and the Marauders are things that kind of carried me over to what I'm doing now and helped me along the way, which is huge, and learning and saying yes to a lot of things growing up, helped me get kind of to where I am today. So really proud of being able to be with the Pirates for as long as I was. I think I was there, and kind of echoing what Katie said, some of these stories that I'm remembering, can't remember if it was my internship at 11, if I was, summer of 12. So the one story that I have, which we'll get to, is a wild one for you guys that were there. But my love for the first question, my love for sports, for me, it just came at a young age. Being an athlete myself, getting to play through college, I knew it was something I always wanted to be involved in. And it was just, like some of you guys have mentioned, seeing the guys, especially guys at the pro level, the work they put in. I can remember getting up for a tarp pull at 6 a.m. and seeing Andrew McCutcheon already in the cages in a full sweat, before a 1 o'clock game during spring training. And it just, you appreciate the work that those guys put in on a day-to-day basis to be as great as they are. So, wanting to try to emulate that as much as I can and pass that wisdom on now to my position at the academy now. It's an honor to be able to do it. These parents entrust us with their, 11 to 18-year-old kids, and they expect us to try to develop them as baseball players. But we take a lot of pride in developing the individual as well. And that's something I've really enjoyed. The second question for guys that are looking to break in, I guess I can make this more on the coaching side since, kind of my title where I am. Believe it or not, I don't know if you guys remember a couple guys that coach for the Pirates, Corey DeHaan or Dave Turgeon. Both of those guys are now coaches at the academy with me. So, building that network and having those communications with guys, you never know when you're going to run into them. You never know the network that you build when you're going to cross paths. Because at some point, I guarantee almost every one of us knows somebody else within the industry that, could help you along the way, or you can build that relationship with. So I think really networking is probably the biggest thing in our industry because we're so tight knit. The memory. So we had just renovated the complex. We had just done the whole concession stand on the first base line, the boardwalk and everything, just renovated the spring training complex. And we're having a soft opening and we had concessions going, and out of nowhere, you hear over like the walkie talkies that there was a lady that was pregnant and she was having, I guess, feeling a little crampy or whatnot. So we called the ambulance. I remember Trevor Gooby walking her down in a wheelchair towards the little loop right there by the ticket office. And the last thing the thing that I remember most is I remember the lady arching back in her wheelchair and Trevor Gooby going down like a quarterback, getting the ball from the center and literally delivering the baby right there in the walkway right there. That's a memory that I will never, ever forget, ever. So that's my biggest memory.
Didn't she name the baby McKechnie after the stadium?
She did.
I believe so. And
Yeah,
I
she
believe
did.
for a really long time, she kept coming by asking for tickets to games for a really long time.
And I think they also made a bobblehead of him like holding the baby up, didn't they? It made ESPN and everything. That was a big deal.
They do, yeah, it was.
Award, yeah.
So his bobblehead was actually just named as one of the top bobbleheads for the decade, which is pretty impressive.
That's awesome.
I saw that article the other day. So that's definitely a very fond memory, I think, that we all can remember. And definitely a crazy time. So what a day. I'm sure Trevor will never forget that day. That's for sure. Well, Logan, we'll move on to you.
Yeah, guys. So it's good to see everyone. It's been a long time. I'm currently over at FAU and in facilities and event management. So my love for sports, kind of like Justin, I was a college athlete, got the privilege to play baseball. After that, I kind of just got into it, learning about different, facets of the sports industry. So I really love the sports industry now and what I do just because of the different entities that I get to work with, the coaching staff, the different events, the football games. At college football, it's so electric, even though it's only Conference USA. I've also got the opportunity to work with some bowl games recently, including the national championship, just volunteering. So those type of opportunities are so electric and so fun, which you just see everything come together, and it's just kind of a wow factor. So it kind of just keeps me, kind of addicted to that, looking to run large scale events. So that's why I kind of love sports, and I continue to, want to work in the industry. My advice, there's a million different people that are out there. So it's so hard. You have to really find ways to stand out. I think everyone's kind of hit on it though. Networking, that's the biggest thing. It's all in who you know. You really have to build that network and build trust with people and relationships so they know and understand you and can trust you and then vouch for you. Because that's really big when you put your name on something for someone, that's your name, that comes a long way. So kind of like Katie mentioned too, you have to continue to reach out to people, not just when it's convenient, but, make that genuine, make that authentic, and be authentic in it in order to kind of leverage yourself. But yeah, between networking, other than that, do your research. There's a lot of things I've been told by mentors, like look for that job above you, kind of like Alex said, look at those jobs above you and look at, those ones that you want, and then go talk to those people, find out what they're doing, just connect with them and see some things and learn from them, because then what they're doing and you're able to speak about that position. So that was some good advice that I kind of learned from a recent mentor. And then the third question, it's so crazy because I was there kind of a long time. I spent a year in the clubhouse. I spent a few years actually running around the stadium for a few summers. So everything really blends together. Justin's story is probably the best story and hands down, that wins. But I think overall, I just say my appreciation for everyone and just being able to connect with everyone, no matter what, we had so much fun. It was so real. It didn't matter if we were pulling the tarp, like we were still cutting up and having fun and enjoying it. And I think that's what made the most out of our whole experience together. And I think that's why we're so close still too, just because, we went through all those things, and yeah, some things were really great and some things were really poor. But at the end of the day, we just had so much fun together. And so, yeah, I would say that's probably the overall of how I enjoyed the experience.
That's awesome, Logan. I think everybody can agree that we definitely had so many fond memories of our time working together. I think one of my fondest memories, and Nate March is not on this call, it's probably a good thing, because My favorite memory was Gabe remembers this one when we had a little jousting match after I think it was probably one of our last games during the Marauders season. And I really took it to Nate there and he went flying. I don't think he really appreciated it too much, but it was a good time. It was all in good fun. So many fun times for sure. Zach, do you have a favorite memory that you want to share? Not to put you on the spot here, but
I had a lot of favorite memories. 2012 was a great summer, and I'm appreciative to meet all of you during that time and develop these friendships. And I don't know, it could be so many different things, from brainstorming ideas at O'Bricks to just hanging out after games during rain delays, pulling tarps dressed as superheroes. Alex, I know the hurricane was a crazy day and a difficult day, but we did have some laughs that day, at least after the fact we did. There's just so many great memories, and glad that all of you were a part of at least one of them, and many of you were a part of probably all of them. So no one in particular, or not one in particular.
yeah, way too many amazing memories that we all shared. And I think that's why, Zach and I have remained great friends throughout the years. And when we decided to do this probably a year ago, our biggest thing is we really wanted to talk sports. We wanted to talk sports industry and leadership. And we both shared a similar passion for leadership. And that's why we wanted to bring solid content. I think that would uplift people. And obviously we can all agree that last year was a very, very challenging year for everybody. And I think it was a perfect time for us to do this. And it wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for all of you that are on this call tonight. And a couple of you touched on it. The best thing I think about the sports industry is the relationships that you build. I think all of us only worked together for one season, but the memories that we made and the friendships absolutely last a lifetime. And it really is unlike any industry that people can be a part of. So it's been fantastic. But that wraps it up essentially for our conversation tonight. We thank all of you for joining us. Alex, Gabe, Katie, Logan, Justin. We know you got a busy schedule, so thank you so much. We had a couple other people that were going to join us, but unfortunately couldn't. Nate, Chris, Brady, Justin, Christich. We love you guys too. We look forward to catching up with you guys soon. And thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. Keep spreading the love.
Absolutely.